KAKAAKI reports. I am Sadiet Dusumo. Welcome. Now, begin the news from the visit of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that will today conclude his two-day state visit to the United Kingdom. Later on today, the president is expected to hold high-level talks with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, focusing on trade, investment and security cooperation. He will also meet members of the Nigerian diaspora in the UK, a community estimated at about around 300,000 people, highlighting the deep people-to-people ties between both nations. AIT's Oloyede Oworu has more.
The visit underscores a growing economic partnership, with bilateral trade now at record levels of about $10.7 billion a year, and Nigerian companies expanding operations in Britain. The engagement follows Wednesday's ceremonial in Windsor Castle, where King Charles III hosted President Tinubu in the first Nigerian state visit to the UK in nearly 4 decades. More than 1,000 soldiers and King's Guards participated in the display of royal pomp and pageantry, as both leaders emphasized colorful and ornamental ties between their countries. President Tinubu and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu were received by the King and Queen Camilla, alongside the Prince and Princess of Wales, Prince William and Catherine. The day concluded with a state banquet and a private viewing of historical artifacts from Britain's colonial era in Nigeria. The visit comes at a pivotal moment in Nigeria-Britain relations. The United Kingdom remains one of Nigeria's key partners in trade, defense, and development. But beyond the economics, the relationship is deeply rooted in history, shaped by colonial rule that ended in 1960 and sustained today by strong diaspora connections. Analysts are describing it as a recalibration of that relationship from one defined by history to another, which is increasingly driven by mutual economic interests and global positioning. For the UK, strengthening ties with Africa's largest economy supports the post-Brexit strategy of expanding global trade links. For Nigeria, closer engagement offers investment opportunities and access to international financial markets. However, the relationship is not without its tensions. Issues such as governance concerns, security challenges, and differing political narratives continue to shape perceptions on both sides. Notably absent from the visit's schedule is a meeting with the UK opposition leader, Kemi Badenoch, who, although is of Nigerian descent, has previously been critical of Nigeria's governance record. Despite these differences, both countries appear committed to deepening cooperation, signaling what officials describe as a renewed chapter in a long and complex relationship. Oloyede Oworu, AIT News.
And joining us from the United Kingdom is Joseph Ernest Iyo, an academic researcher and public analyst. He's going to help us take a look at what to expect from the meeting between President Bola Tinubu and Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Thanks for joining us on AIT Reports.
Thank you. Okay. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good afternoon from Nigeria. Now, what are the key expectations from today's meeting between President Tinubu and Keir Starmer, looking at the opportunities that this meeting may present for Nigeria?
First and foremost, I'm not privy to the document that Nigeria has in terms of its development strategy. When you have a development strategy, then you seek partners that can actualize those goals, those set goals. I don't know. One, Nigeria has serious, as the newscaster said, serious security challenges. Any nation with the kind of security challenges that Nigeria has cannot thrive economically. Second, infrastructure deficit. Nigeria's infrastructure deficit is baffling. The fact that Nigeria is still a sovereign nation and its population is feeding itself is a miracle. Any other state would have been a failed state by now. So without a strategic imperative, any relationship, particularly with Western Europe, is flawed, is fraught with serious historical flaws. The West has never seen Africa as a partner and has always developed unequal relationships. The West is a parasite. The West is caught in a situation where America has forced the West to the wall. West is fighting for a survivor. That is why it is rebooting and reconnecting with Africa. The West has seen China as a major threat. The West needs allies to fight China. That is a strategic security imperative of the West. Until Nigeria sets its own house in order. One, remember the West knows Nigeria better than Nigeria knows itself. So if you come to the West and you're not well prepared with a strategic objective of how you can use the West to develop your country, it will be trade will benefit a very small percentage of Nigerians.
Okay, now you were talking about the issues in Nigeria, the security issues, the infrastructure deficit and all of that. So are we saying today's meeting might not be a win-win cooperation for both the United Kingdom and Nigeria?
If, as it was alluded in the introduction, Nigeria has a defense cooperation with the West, with Britain. How come we have been dragging with serious challenges in the security operations in Nigeria for over 10 years? There are no signs of remedy. Every year you hear it is going to be that we are going to finish with this problem, and then I come from a state where I have not because my brothers. And that is only 6 months away from God. I've been to 3 times and been 16 days away. Tell me why. I have money that I can pay. I'm sure friends have a lot. But we there are security issues and in Benue State. Not without. There was time you could go factory.
Okay. It seems we've lost Mr. Igio. Can you hear us, please? Mr. Igio, can you hear us, please?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Sorry, we lost you at some point. So what were you saying?
If you don't have an industrial base,
okay, if
Nigeria has a top,
Okay, Mr. Igio, I think we'll leave it at that at the moment. Thank you so much for joining us on AIT Report for today, if you can hear me. Now, moving ahead, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oloyede, has urged residents of Borno and Yobe states to take ownership of the fight against Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists as part of efforts to end insurgency in the northeast. General Oloyede made the call after several hours of high-level security meeting in Maiduguri on Wednesday. The meeting was attended by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, the Theater Commander, Northeast Operation, Hadin Kai, Major General Abdul Salam Abubakar, and other senior military officers.
The CDS expressed concern that some members of communities in the affected states have been complicit allegedly sabotaging ongoing military operations in the region. He revealed that credible intelligence indicates of those responsible for killing and destruction over the past 15 years of the insurgency are from within the affected states. According to him, the military leadership is in Borno State on a directive of President Bola Tinubu to relocate temporarily to Maiduguri and address the resurgence of Boko Haram and ISWAP attacks and bombings. Oluyode said the visit is aimed at reviewing and strengthening strategies in the fight against terrorism in the northeast. He noted that recent attacks by insurgents, particularly within the last month, align with their usual tactics during the Ramadan period. On the use of drone and other advanced technology by terrorists, the CDS assured the military is fully aware of the development and is on top of the situation. He added that the armed forces are also enhancing their operational capacity with the development of advanced drone technology. The defense chief reiterated the need for stronger collaboration between the military and local communities to achieve lasting peace in the region. The Chief of Defense Staff's visit to Maiduguri follows the directive by President Bola Tinubu for the service chiefs to relocate to Maiduguri to take charge of the rising insurgents attacks. Has Akodi, AIT News, Abuja.
And the People's Democratic Party, PDP Ekiti State, has dismissed the legitimacy of a state congress held last weekend in the state capital, describing it as unconstitutional and unrelated to the current party leadership in the state. Recall that following the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which nullified the People's Democratic Party, PDP, National Convention held in Ibadan and upheld the suspension of several national offices, the faction backed by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike inaugurated new executives of the party in Ekiti, which produced Larry Omolase as the chairman. However, speaking with journalists in Ado Ekiti, the chairman of the PDP in Ekiti, backed by Kabiru Turaki faction, Tunji Odeyemi, maintained that the existing state working committee remains the duly elected leadership, having emerged from a congress conducted on October 1, 2025, under the supervision of the party's National Working Committee. On his part, a former deputy governorship candidate of the PDP, Deji Ogunsakin, also dismissed claims of a leadership change within the party, describing those behind such moves as suspended members whose actions had already been invalidated by the courts.
Less than 6 months, you are talking of another Congress. The big question is, has there been any court order or court verdict saying or to defend that they have dissolved our congresses? The answer is capital no. So in a simple form, let me put it this way. The Congress, the purported Congresses, the purported State Congress held on Saturday has gotten nothing to do with our mandates freely given on the 1st of October, 2025.
Anybody who is pretending to be a member of PDP and supporting APC is not our member and cannot be our member. That is pure anti-party. So whatever it is you are saying is a plot to destroy, to distract us in the next election. Because very soon, you'll be getting caption, different headlines that say, if the PDP is supporting this. We know the game. It is not known to us. That Congress is null and void. Our party members are intact, and we are ready for the next election. Now we are going to win.
Now, still staying with the PDP, despite the talk of reconciliation between the two warring camps in the party, the National Caretaker Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, says its planned national convention is non-negotiable. This group, which is backed by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, insists that the scheduled event remains the only path towards a genuine reconciliation within the party.
Addressing journalists ahead of the March 29th and 30th elective convention, the National Publicity Secretary, Jugundo Mohammed, confirmed that all plans are on track to elect substantive principal officers. The party emphasized that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has already been formally notified. According to the committee, INEC has also successfully monitored and supervised the preliminary ward, local government and state congresses.
Reconciliation is an ongoing thing, and it cannot in any way prevent the caretaker committee from carrying out with the convention. And if you recall that we had initially informed the representative of the Kabiru group who attended our last NEC meeting that whatever is going to be their written proposals, two things remain sacrosanct. That is the existence of this caretaker committee and then the conduct of this national convention. So irrespective of whatever reconciliation that is likely to happen, it will not affect the conduct and processes leading to this convention. We are still open for reconciliation.
To finalize the roadmap, the PDP National Caretaker Group has scheduled an Emergency National Executive Committee NEC meeting for Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Immediately following that meeting, the party says it will begin the sale of nomination forms to aspirants, followed by screening of candidates and hearing of appeals arising from the screening process. The committee insists these steps are essential to ensuring a transparent transition to a substantive leadership.
We have concluded all state congresses in line with the judgment of Justice Omotosho that before we can proceed with any convention, we have to conclude all congresses, and we have just finished that with Plateau yesterday.
The convention is coming after the Court of Appeal had nullified the November 2025 Ibadan elective convention, in which the tenure of all national officers was declared to have lapsed statutorily, paving the way for the election of the Kabiru Turaki executive. After the Court of Appeal's decision invalidating the Turaki executive, the two opposing groups have hinted at out-of-court resolution of the leadership dispute, but with the Wike group insisting the reconciliation will not preclude its going ahead with its March 29th national convention. Amaka Okoro, AIT News, Abuja.
And Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has visited victims of the recent Maiduguri bomb blast, reiterating the federal government's stand against terrorism. The blast, which occurred on Monday, left over 20 people dead and more than 100 injured. Shettima's visit to the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital is a show of solidarity with the affected families and a demonstration of the government's commitment to fighting terrorism. AIT's Mustafa Mohammed files this report.
Vice President of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, has visited victims of the recent bomb blast in Maiduguri, condemning the heinous act and assuring the federal government's top response to terrorism. Shettima reiterated the government's resolve to defeat terrorism, stating that perpetrators will be decisively confronted. He noted that the federal government is investing in equipment and logistics to boost the fight against terrorism. The Vice President expressed sympathy with the injured and families affected by the tragedy, assuring the government support through various agencies. He described the perpetrators as barbaric, stressing that no cause justifies killing of innocent people.
It's a tragedy because no religion sanctions the killings of the innocent. But these demented monsters called Boko Haram, I don't even consider them as members of the human race. But be rest assured that no matter how long the night is, it must give way to the light of the dawn. We are eternal optimists who will work harder than ever before to see that full peace is restored. And the government, through the National Emergency Management Agency, I'm here with the DG. She's a mother. She's a housewife.
Shettima was accompanied by top government officials on the visit to the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, where victims are receiving treatment. The National Emergency Management Agency, Northeast Development Commission, and Borno State government are providing support to the affected individuals and families. Mustafa Mohammed, AIT News, Abuja.
And joining us from Nasarawa State is a public affairs analyst, Mr. Gaza Auta. He's to shed more light on the recent attacks in Borno State. Thanks for joining us, sir. Mr. Auta, kindly unmute yourself, Mr. Auta.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Now, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has already visited Maiduguri amidst the resurgence of the attack. What impact do you expect this visit will have on the security situation in Borno State?
Well, first, I would like to condole the people of Borno and Maiduguri. It is my prayers that God will grant the souls departed eternal rest, and may those souls continue to haunt those that have taken them. Well, as to the impact, it's important that the leadership will have to identify with the people, which he has done. But it goes beyond this.
Okay.
The impact is, yes, there's the presence of government, they have come to condole. But my question all the time is, at what point are we going to stop condoling and then prevent?
Okay.
Because it has become like a simple jacket narrative all the time. When events like this occur, and then the government is always just there to condole, when the government is supposed to protect and the government is supposed to prevent these things.
Okay.
So the pattern now is there is an attack, the government goes to condole, it goes to sit down, and then when another attack occurs somewhere, it goes to condole, and then... So I think, well, the impact is the face of for the first time, at least for a couple of years now, we're seeing the government even going there trying to show some sympathy, though we don't know if it is political, because we're in a political season now.
Okay.
But I think the government should take the issue of this insecurity seriously.
Okay.
And by that, it should start in proper intelligence gathering and the rest of them. Though we've been told that the army chiefs and the security chiefs have been deployed to Maiduguri.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
It means that they are going to coordinate their security this and there, and at the same time, the presence of the security chiefs there will send a very strong signal to the Boko Haram and the rest of
So maybe we can have more actions, right?
We hope so. We hope so, and we just hope that this is not just semantics, and we just hope that this is not just another politic.
Okay, now, Mr. Auta, the Chief of Defense Staff has hinted that attackers may be not from the affected communities. How credible is this claim, and what implications does this have for our security strategies?
I would like to fault that for a little bit, because the number one job of the security is intelligence gathering. Yes, if he says that they are part of them and they should identify them, there is a possibility that, yes, they know some of them, but there's a possibility that they do not know. But it is the duty of the security apparatus to deploy intelligence. This is the 21st century, for goodness sake.
Okay.
And if you're deploying intelligence, then you should be able to know that the first phase of that is intelligence gathering, proper intelligence gathering. And if you want to even incorporate the services of these same community members, then it is, of course, what if, because you know, it's one thing for these people to give you information, and it's one thing again for them to disinform you. There is misinformation and disinformation. So how do you filter some of these things? So I feel there is no need throwing blames. What we need is action. We want to see action on the ground. Nigeria is a sovereign country, and if some people are disturbing the sovereignty of the country, then we don't want excuses. It's either you are ready for this job or you get someone that is ready for this job.
Okay.
And then stop throwing excuses at the community members. No.
Okay, there's something else, Mr. Auta. There are concerns that these attacks might be politically motivated. You know the times that we're in. What do you think?
You cannot take away politics from this, because right from how this thing has been handled, it has had political interference. And this is lives that are being wasted. So at what point are we going to differentiate politics from governance? And if it has a political undertone, whose responsibility is it? I give you an example. If you want to trace the money, there's this follow the money. When you follow the money, you'll see who the financiers of this particular acts are.
Yes.
And when you follow the weapons, the proliferation of the weapons across West Africa,
okay,
who is supplying what? Then that is the only way that you'll be able to find this. So whether it is political, whether there is European, Western interference, or whether it is local,
okay,
what on the ground?
Okay.
Because yes, this thing has been lingering since 2009. At what point are we going to now say enough is enough? Whether it is politics, whether it is religious or not, let's nip this in the bud once.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaza Auta, for joining us on the IT Report today, and we hope to see more actions in the coming days.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, moving ahead, amid growing insecurity and deepening social tensions across the country, the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution has moved to strengthen Nigeria's frontline of peace building by inducting a new cohort of trained mediators, signaling a shift towards a structured professional approaches to conflict resolution. The Director General of the Institute, during a close-out session with mediators, emphasized the need for Nigerians to embrace negotiation and mediation as critical tools for preventing conflicts and building a more stable society.
In a world where conflicts often begin with something as simple as a misunderstanding, a harsh word, or the failure to truly listen, the message from the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution is clear. Peace starts with everyday choices. Representing the Director General, Joseph Ochobo, the Director of Finance and Accounts, Sunday Daji, reminded participants that lasting peace is not accidental, but something built intentionally through our daily interactions.
This distinctive carries both honor and responsibility. I urge you to carry the knowledge and professional ethos acquired here back into your institutions, communities, workplaces, and a clear sense of mission to serve as advocates for dialogue over confrontation and mediation over contracted conflicts.
At the closing ceremony of the strategic course on negotiation and mediation at the National Peace Academy, he emphasized that choosing dialogue over confrontation is not a sign of weakness, but a reflection of courage, wisdom, and vision.
First, either from your families or the workplace or the larger society, you must be sensitive enough that whatever it is that you are doing shouldn't be a threat to issue of peace. We have told people, and like these people, to be conflict sensitive in all of their engagements and interactions.
As they step back into their communities and workplaces, these newly trained mediators carry not just new skills, but a responsibility to listen more, to understand better, and to stand as voices of calm in moments of tension.
But the practical experience that we have had here from the people that came from outside and then shared their experience and all that, it's not only us that's supposed to be peace builders. I think everybody that is created by God is supposed to be a good peace builder.
For many of the participants, including officers from the Nigerian Immigration Service and professionals from private practice, the training represents more than just a certificate. It marks the beginning of a lifelong commitment to peace building.
Management Agency, NEMA, has deployed a mobile control tower at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, in response to the recent fire incident that disrupted key air-ground communication systems at the old terminal. The agency says the development marks a critical step in sustaining flight operations, with plans already underway to install a second tower to serve runway 18R and further strengthen operational capacity at the airport. During an on-the-spot inspection, Director of Safety Electronics and Engineering Services, Tersi Iheanacho, confirmed the facility is fully operational, noting that all system tests have been completed and air traffic controllers are ready to commence work immediately. Iheanacho added that the tower has been reconfigured to suit local operational needs, with improved connectivity to a Greenex and a Tracon system, alongside the integration of both digital and manual air traffic management processes. NEMA maintains that the deployment is part of a broader contingency framework to ensure uninterrupted navigation services with additional features, including backup power supply, solar lighting, reinforced structures, and surveillance systems to enhance safety and reliability. The Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Samuel Ogboku, says the commission is willing to partner Damini Ebunoluwa Ogunlu, known professionally as Burna Boy, to grow the economy of the Niger Delta region. The Managing Director of the NDDC gave the assurance during a visit by the Grammy Award winner to the Commission's headquarters in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. AIT's Chibuchi completes the reports.
The Nigerian singer, songwriter, and record producer Damini Ogulu, popularly known as Burna Boy, at the NDDC headquarters in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, accompanied by his father, Samuel Ogulu. The visit by the Afrobeat singer and Grammy Award winner was to seek the intervention of the NDDC in areas like roads, health, education, and water to his rural Obogolo community in Ahoda West local government area of Rivers State.
Just recently, I came to the realization that where I'm from is almost non-existent, and we're almost like the most forgotten people in the whole history of Nigeria. Because when I got there, when I saw it was literally a jungle. You know, with no water, no hospitals, no nothing. This is really why I came here, because NDDC is really the only ones that can really do something about that.
You coming here and believing in us, it means a lot to us. So we also have to reciprocate. So we'll start with the solar lights. Then we'll also look at internal roads in the community and also the road linking the community. The community needs water. We'll also look at it. So that when we finish these projects, you will come with us in commissioning those projects.
The Managing Director of the NDDC, Samuel Ogboku, who describes Burna Boy as one of the biggest assets of the Niger Delta region, said the NDDC is willing to enter into a partnership that will see him use his talent and image to add value to the socio-economic growth of the Niger Delta region.
Please, just the way this city had grown you, please come back home. Let us be seen more often. But I can assure you that NDDC under my watch will be willing to partner with you on anything you want to do that will bring the people of the Niger Delta together, that will attract Nigeria to Port Harcourt or any part of the region. NDDC will be willing to partner.
Ogboku added that Port Harcourt and the entire Niger Delta region are peaceful, noting that his regular presence within the region will surely open up lots of opportunities for the people. Chibuchi Chukwu, AIT News, Port Harcourt.
The National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESTRA, has sealed off Bond Chemicals Industries Limited in Oyo State over alleged environmental violations. The enforcement action follows a public complaint backed by independent verification accusing the company of discharging untreated effluent into the environment. A compliance inspection carried out on February 18 by officials from NESTRA's Southwest Zonal Office revealed that the facilities lacked a functional effluent treatment plant and was releasing untreated wastewater with offensive odor directly into the environment, despite being formally notified and directed to install appropriate treatment systems and obtain necessary permits. A follow-up inspection showed the company failed to comply. NESRA says the facility has now been sealed to prevent further environmental degradation and protect public health. Director General of the agency, Professor Innocent Bariko, reiterated that all industrial operators must adhere strictly to environmental regulations, including the installation and proper operation of pollution control systems. You're still watching AIT Reports. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you more reports. Please stay.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, AIT_live, and AIT Livestream 1 on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. Now, my office is open for scrutiny. This is according to the Minister for Works, Dave Umahi. Umahi was speaking during a press conference held at the Federal Ministry of Works headquarters in Mabuchi, Abuja, where he addressed concerns raised over the ministry's activities. He also disclosed that the ministry has invited anti-corruption agencies, including the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, to independently verify its projects and procurement processes. According to him, the ICPC has already concluded part of its investigation, while the EFCC is expected to commence its review after an ongoing summit.
The minister's position comes against the backdrop of recent criticism and protests over ongoing road projects across the country. Umahi says anti-corruption agencies have already been invited to independently review the ministry's operations, describing the move as part of efforts to strengthen accountability and public trust. He maintains that the priority remains the delivery of durable infrastructure, noting that poor road networks continue to limit mobility and economic productivity.
There is nothing we do in Ministry of Works that we cannot defend. And I know that to change from asphalt to predominantly concrete, we fought a battle. And that's why there is no battle that we are afraid of, provided that God is with you and that you put God and the people before any other interest.
Earlier on Wednesday, staff of the Ministry Sports Club presented trophies won at the Federal Civil Service Sports Competition in Adamawa State to the minister in appreciation of his support for staff welfare and sporting development. Addressing the staff, Umahi highlighted plans to improve efficiency and service delivery with renewed emphasis on capacity building and national commitment.
As long as I stay the days I stay Minister of Works, no staff will go home hungry. And none of your children will be out of school. We are a very formidable team because whatever we are doing, all the cars are faced up, And I want to promise you, working with your directors, this year, even if you are sweeping the compound, you will go for project inspection.
The minister says the ministry remains focused on its mandate, stressing that transparency and accountability will continue to guide its operations despite ongoing criticism. Oyebimpe Wealth, AIT News, Abuja.
You're still watching AIT Reports. It's now time for Sports Track with Lai Lawal. Please stay.
Thanks, Sadiat. Hello there and welcome to Sports Tracker. Now we'll kick off with the UEFA Champions League. The competition delivered thrilling action across Europe on Wednesday as teams secured their spots in the quarterfinals. Five-time champions FC Barcelona were the biggest winners of the night. Barca trashed English side Newcastle United 7-2 with Rafinha and Robert Lewandowski scoring a brace each. The Blaugrana progressed with an 8-3 aggregate victory. Barcelona will now face Atletico Madrid in an all-Spanish quarterfinal clash. Atletico advanced 7-5 on aggregate despite a 3-2 defeat in the hands of Tottenham Hotspur on the night. Elsewhere at Anfield, Liverpool FC breezed past Galatasaray with a 4-0 victory, overturning a 1-0 first-leg deficit. The Reds will now face defending champions Paris Saint-Germain in the quarterfinals. Six-time winners FC Bayern Munich completed the dominant double over Italian side Atalanta with a 4-0 win, advancing 10-2 on aggregates. They will meet record winners Real Madrid in the last 8. Now, Lionel Messi has become only the second player to reach a now top-level career goals. The milestone came as Messi scored just 7 minutes into Inter Miami KAKAAKI Champions Cup clash against the Nashville FC. The 38-year-old has now scored 81 goals in 92 appearances since joining the MLS side in 2023. Widely regarded as one of football's greatest, Messi rose to prominence at FC Barcelona, where he scored 672 goals before spells at Paris Saint-Germain. An 8-time Ballon d'Or winner, he also led Argentina to World Cup glory and remains their all-time leading scorer. And our CAF President Patrice Motsepe has defended the decision of the body's appeals committee overturning the outcome of the 2025 AFCON final between Morocco and Senegal. Motsepe, who has consistently expressed disappointment over the incident that marred the AFCON final, noting that such incidents undermines efforts of the continental body in ensuring integrity, ethics, and discipline of the sport.
The important thing of what happened on that final match is it undermines the good work that CAF has done over many, many years to ensure that, that there's integrity, that there's respect, that there's ethics, that there's governance, as well as credibility of the results of our football matches. The occurrences, those incidences at the final match of the AFCON Morocco exposes is the work that we are still dealing with concerning the suspicion and distrust. It's a legacy issue. When I became president, one of the major concerns was the impartiality, the independence, and the respect of referees and match commissioners. And a lot of good work has been done. But there continues to be suspicion because it's a legacy issue. It's something that has been there for many, many years, and we consistently deal with that because that's critically important.
Motsepe further said that both the disciplinary committee and the appeals committee are independent bodies whose members were carefully selected through the assistance of member associations.
It is important that the decisions of our disciplinary board, the CAF disciplinary board, and the decisions of the CAF appeals board is viewed with the respect and integrity that's very important to us. So if you look at the composition of those bodies, they reflect some of the most respected lawyers and judges on the continent. And but we will still have to deal with this, with the perceptions and the concerns about the integrity. It's an ongoing issue.
Concluded by saying that CAF is committed to ensure the credibility of the sport in Africa. Now, still staying out with that CAF decision, the Senegalese government has called for an independent investigation into alleged corruption at CAF following the decision to overturn the country's 2025 African Cup of Nations triumph. The country's authorities described the ruling as unjust and damaging to the integrity of African football. Senegal were crowned champions in January after defeating hosts nation Morocco 1-0 in the final after extra time. However, CAF on Tuesday night sensationally overturned the results, citing regulations concerning Senegal's decision to leave the field in protest over a controversial late penalty awarded to Morocco in regulation time. The decision has sparked widespread controversy across the football community, with many questioning the timing and basis of the ruling. In response, Senegal described the move as a grossly illegal and profound unjust decision that undermines CAF's credibility. Furthermore, Senegal confirmed its intention to appeal the decision to the Court of Arbitration for Sports within the next 48 hours, which is now about 24 hours' time. And our reactions have continued to trail CAF's decision to strip Senegal of the 2025 African Cup of Nations title. The West African nation has now taken the matter to court with a US-based sports lawyer, backing their chances of reclaiming the trophy.
The controversy surrounding the 2025 African Cup of Nations shows no signs of slowing down. Reactions have continued to trade the decision by the Confederation of African Football to strip Senegal to one and award it to Morocco of the However, CAF later ruled regulation awarding the match. And weighing in on the matter is a US-based sport lawyer, Pius Nduboiko. He says that Senegal have a strong case.
Well, we've been seeing different legal opinions and views on this. I think Senegal, they have a very strong chance at CAF, and I base this on the regulations on Article 82, 84, when read in line with Laws 5.2 of the IFAB laws of the game. We cannot read one provision in exclusion or in isolation of the other applicable sections of the law. The law is clear. These guys left the pitch and they returned back, and the referee allowed the match to continue, and there was the final match result. The referee is final. The referee's decision as regards the match result is final. He's the final arbiter, and that should not be subject to litigation or abuse. If this decision stands, I think the game of football is destroyed.
He described CAF's decision as embarrassing and one that upholding it could damage the credibility of football on the continent.
Remember, CAF is the Court of Arbitration for Sports, so it's not just African football, it's about global football. So if this decision is allowed to stand, it means that, in fact, it will not stand, but if it's allowed to stand, it means that Laws 5.2 of the IFAB laws of the game will have to be reviewed, in the sense that it has to be reviewed to reflect that the decisions of the referee the results of the referee as to the final match results are no longer final. That whatever decision the referee arrives at regarding the match result can be reviewed, and then that destroys the game of football. So I believe that this will not stand, because if this stands, the global football is destroyed.
The case now heads to CAS, where the final chapter of AFCON 2025 could yet be rewritten. Osaibovo Usifo, AIT News, Abuja.
And now Super Eagles head coach Eric Chell has named the 23-man squad for these monthly international friendlies against Iran and Jordan. Super Eagles will face Iran on March 27 and Jordan on March 31st, with both matches are moved to Turkey from Qatar due to tensions in the Middle East. Captain Wilfred Ndidi, Alex Iwobi and Ademola Lookman headline the squad alongside returning player Maduka Okoye. There are also first-time call-ups for Emmanuel Fedaniza, Philip Otele, and Yira Collins. However, stars like Victor Osimhen and the first-choice goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali are the notable omissions from the list. That's sports, and thanks for watching. I am Lai.
Thank you so much, Lai. And now, Niger State Police Command and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed over 7,000 officers and men to all worship places and recreational sports in the state to ensure adequate security during the Eid Fitr celebration in 2026. The Commissioner of Police, CP Adamu Eleman, says he has directed all heads of departments, area commanders, tactical commanders, intelligence units, and DPOs to also deploy personnel for intelligence-led policing and raids of black spots within their areas of responsibility. He further directs officers to mobilize operational assets such as anti-riot water cannons, gun, trucks, patrol vehicles, and ensure massive deployment of police personnel for visibility policing, show of force with them as security agencies, and dominate public space for a tight security arrangement before, during, and after the festivity. In addition to this, he also directs tactical commanders to ensure sufficient deployment of tactical teams such as the police mobile force, counter-terrorism units, explosive ordnance disposal, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear tactical support team, a monitoring unit, a crack squad, anti-thuggery unit, and anti-kidnapping unit of the command to all major Eid grounds, recreation centers, amusement parks, and other strategic public places in the state for security coverage. And similarly, the state commander of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has directed deployment of 2,375 officers and men of the Corps across the state command headquarters, area commands, and divisional offices throughout the state. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has denied reports alleging it sought a fresh court order to extend the remand of former Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai, saying they were inaccurate. In a statement by the Commission's head of media and public communication, the anti-graft agency explained that it appeared in court on March 17, 2026 for the hearing of an application filed by El-Rufai on March 6, seeking to overturn a remand or order granted on March 5. According to the Commission, during the proceedings, counsel for the former governor was served with its response to the application, adding that the defense lawyer subsequently requested an adjournment to study the Commission's reply. The presiding magistrate therefore adjourned the hearing of the application to March 31, 2026 to allow El-Rufai's legal team to respond. Outlining the timeline of the court-authorized detention, the ICPC said an initial remand order permitted the Commission to detain the suspect for 14 days to investigate allegations of money laundering and abuse of office. Well, that's AIT Reports. I am Sadia Tudusumo. Thank you so much for staying with us.
I get married. We have 2 kids. I just try to manage. My dream, I want to open my own shop and